Hello, the Keen Witch here with the Tarotscopes for Taurus season, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. My Aquarians, this Taurus season has a little more space to breathe. Thank goodness. We don't have any major once in a lifetime, once every 8 years, once every whatever. This Taurus season, most of the astrology is pretty standard. It's kind of like the aspects and things that we hit pretty much every year, one way or another. There are a couple that are kind of important, but you can go check out my video on Taurus season if you want to see that. Also, we got that new moon in Taurus, which usually the new moon is pretty sweet and beautiful and delightful, but we do have a T square with Mars and Pluto, so I do think it's going to be a bit more intense. And that means that that outlet is in Scorpio, so a lot of deep themes of, dealing with things that have lain long in the dark, which, while that can be very helpful, can also be very painful. Um, but there is a lot more space in Taurus season. Looking at your cards, I do think we're looking at a lot of rebirth for you. So it feels as though you kind of went through a lot during this past Aries season, beginning of the year, like a lot of us did. And now you're kind of having to reconnoiter, regroup, and figure out what that means for you now. And a part of that is a releasing death process. And there's a lot of reasons I'm saying that because the cards are here, but let's get into just what this means for you in general. With our Oracle card, Pierce the Veil, move beyond illusion. And I love this because this is the air sign card in this Oracle deck. It feels as though while you're still kind of in the muck of some of retrograde season with the post shadow periods that are still happening, it does feel as though you do need to start progressing, even if it doesn't feel like it's quite ready. That progression is going to force you to have to shed a lot of stuff faster, but I think it'll be better for you in the end. It is time to face stuff that maybe you were avoiding during the Venus retrograde or just didn't have capacity for. Like I said to the Capricorns, not everyone experiences retrogrades the same. Some people have their retrograde moment early on. Some people have it mid retrograde. I tend to be a couple months out where, like, I'll get insights and stuff, but I'll be like 4 weeks out and I'll be like, oh, this is what this has all been leading up to. Good to know. So don't feel bad if you feel like you're behind. You're not. A lot of this energy takes a lot to process, and you are, very Saturn heavy, and Saturn does the work and takes the time to do things correctly, and that's what you're doing. So allow yourself to kind of step beyond the thought process, though. Step beyond the what ifs and the maybes and even the dreams, and do something, even if it's one small thing concrete towards your dreams this Taurus season. And then the rest, I encourage you to rest and enjoy the spring, because with this extra space, as I told the Capricorns as well, don't be rushed to fill it with a bunch of new stuff. Leave that space for growth and rest and filling up that really empty drained cup that I know a lot of my Aquarians are struggling with. And speaking of cups, we start off with an 8 of Cups, which is interesting because it was reversed with Capricorns. You're like, why do you keep talking about these hoes? It's because you both are ruled by Saturn. But it feels like while they're walking away from something at the end of Taurus season, you're walking away from something at the beginning. It feels like this might be very tied to the new moon in Taurus, which is very spicy. The astrology of Taurus season is lighter, but there are some kind of intense moments. They're just not quite as bombastic as, Aries season was. But there's something to walk away from. It does feel as though a lot of stuff passed away during Aries season, and now you're kind of coming to the point where you're like, oh, that's dead and that's gone, and I need to clear that out. And it's part of the grieving process, but it's also just part of cleaning house and just knowing that something is done and finished, so that you can continue to progress and move forward and be less weighed down by things that carry weight but have no purpose. And I don't want you to feel pressured to like throw out stuff that you love and care about, but maybe physically getting rid of some stuff that you don't need anymore might be helpful this Taurus season, creating not just having the energetic space, but having the physical space to feel free and ready to move forward. And the reason I'm talking about death, because death is here. This is a death card. I think that you were going through a very slow dying phase of some kind during the Venus retrograde, during the both Aries and Pisces for points of it. Also, the Mercury retrograde. You're not ruled by Mercury, but you are an air sign, so that kind of mental turmoil can really affect you. Also, Saturn's been your ruler's been getting pinged. Mercury, Venus, North Node, South Node opposition. All of these things have been happening. The eclipses. Uh, so a lot of who you were before is just very different, and that's okay. It's good to be different. And I think sometimes Aquarians, you're so far thinking and you have so many dreams that you also maybe sometimes miss when a dream is past its prime, when a dream no longer applies to you. So if there's any kind of like dead dreams hanging on that you're like, well, that's not really me anymore, just do that final process of letting them lay to rest so that you can move forward in dreams that are more aligned with you, that are more suited to you. And don't look at the time spent on those things and maybe the missed signals and stuff as loss. Look at it as the process that you needed to go through in order to finish something important. And this is kind of the easiest card of the spread and one of my favorites for a Saturn ruled person. We got the King of Pentacles. This is all of this shift and death process and moving. All of this is so that you can step into this, so that you can be Sky Daddy, Sky Sugar Saturn Daddy, and have the abundance that you need. Something that I think a lot of Aquarians can end up falling into a trap of is not getting paid enough for your work. I'm constantly telling my Aquarius people to kind of like get your bag, and not accept less. Also, sometimes a willingness to go for a situation because it appears stable rather than what is the best fit for you. Y'all really have to lock in on negotiating your contracts and refusing to sign something that doesn't benefit you, and taking BS from people who are less qualified. And I'm not saying that all of you do this, but a lot of my Aquarians are like, well, I'm smart enough to work with someone stupid. And I'm like, well, then let's just not work with someone stupid. And I know sometimes we have needs that we have to meet, but hold those loosely. If there's a placeholder job you're doing, make sure it's a placeholder job. Do not sell your soul to it. Move towards this. A lot of my Aquariuses do way better working for themselves or working in a kind of a system where you have a lot of autonomy. So keep your eyes peeled for those kinds of jobs. Stand your ground. If you're currently being bullied by someone, tell them no. And set some really firm boundaries, because y'all will not handle it well long term, because no one will, and you deserve better. So if there's any place in which you're not able to be full King of Pentacles this season, calling the shots, doing what you want, deciding what to do with your resources, ask yourself how healthy the situation is, relationship, work, what have you. And then we kind of move into the final two cards, which are swords, which is very appropriate considering that you are not the airiest air sign, but very intense air sign. We have the Eight of Swords. I think within all of this, there is a sense of feeling a bit trapped. And it kind of ties back to what I said earlier about not allowing regret to come in and kind of choke you out. I think sometimes my Saturn people, especially in the earlier parts of their lives, are very concerned about time and concerned about not having enough time. And while I get that concern, I have a 29th degree anarchic Saturn in Aquarius. So I do feel very Saturnian sometimes. You do have time. And a lot of my Saturn ruled, Saturn heavy people, the best times are ahead. Absolutely. The best times are in the future. The best times are your second Saturn return. There's so much ahead of you. I know it feels like you're trapped now and it might feel like you're stagnant because things have slowed down a little bit. But that's not the case. It feels very hangman to this card. I always find it's like a little minor echo to that big echo of the hanged man. It's simple for me to say that like, oh, there's so much ahead of you, but I truly do believe it. And what you're doing and accomplishing now is nothing in compared to what you'll be doing and accomplishing next year and the year after and the year after. So allow yourself this time to relax. And if you feel penned in, maybe consider it like a little forced vacation. And last but not least, we do have a Five of Swords. There's conflict. People are not going to agree with you when you change direction, when you decide to take a new path, when you are a visionary and you see something better for yourself in the future. Ignore them. It's a Five of Swords. They don't know what's best for you, and they don't live in your body, and they don't live in your life and your brain. do what you want to do. Also, with the Five of Swords, if you are in conflict with someone, just consider like what the value of that is. Is this conflict worth the energy you're spending? You can also just tell them they're wrong and walk away. You don't have to prove that you are right if you are right. That makes sense. So, release those people, release the need to do this season, and really take time to just allow yourself to recuperate after a loss. It's kind of similar if you've ever done like a cleanse, not really a cleanse, but like a parasite cleanse or any type of dying off process or a medication that causes die off. It takes a lot of energy and rest, and your body slows down. View Taurus season as that for you, and rest and take up the space that you need in order to be a Saturn ruled sign. You are the best with time, so act like the boss. All right, my loves, that is my reading for Taurus season. You can pop any comments or questions you have down below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in a different space and time. Blessed Taurus season.